Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Sup, X. I know we've got a few friends in here who happen to be in the military. I'm one of them. Most military bases are old as fuck and run down, and our life is so depressing a ton of us self-end ourselves. That's not even getting into deployed life, which is a whole nother type of creepy since you're worried less about the ghosts and more about the very real assholes trying to kill you. I'll start with a couple of my own. Be at the United States Marine Corps boot camp on Parris Island. Place is old as fuck, but luckily I lived in the newer squad bays over in 3rd Battalion. It's the second phase, we have to learn how to shoot our rifles. Move to the oldest, shittiest barracks still used on the island. Move over there, got fucked up the whole day. Night falls, and our drill instructors are acting strangely. Arguing about who is staying that night. Weird, because they never show a human side. Kill Hat. We loved him. Draws the short straw, walks out of the drill instructor office. Ears motherfuckers. Open sir. Listen up motherfuckers. If anything happens tonight, if you hear anything banging or screaming, wake me up. Some crazy shit has gone down here in the past. Brave recruit asks him what happened. All I have to say is that Ribbon Creek is right across the road there, bitches. And back in the day, fucking none of you friends knew how to swim. Prepare to mount the rack. Upon hearing Ribbon Creek, my asshole clenches. I knew that Ribbon Creek was an area where a bunch of recruits drowned in the 50s. I quickly spread the word. Kinda freaked out, but tired as fuck. Time passes. Wake up to a scream in the night. What the fuck? Drill instructor comes bursting out of his office, visibly scared. Look around and it's just me, the drill instructor, and the fire watch, 3 guys designated to rove around the barracks and clean and shit. That are awake. I'm a light sleeper. What is it, recruit? Recruit on fire watch is shaking. The drill instructor asks him what happened. He says he was standing his post. This was about midnight, when a recruit in skivvies came walking up from downstairs. He's suspicious, because why the fuck is this guy from another platoon coming on our deck? Stops him, tell him to come closer. He's soaking wet, like he had got into the shower with his clothes on. Pale, and shaking. Takes every ounce of discipline for him to not nope the fuck out of there. Why are you wet? Firewatch says all he said was, this recruit doesn't know how to swim. This recruit doesn't know how to swim. And out of nowhere, he just sprints away and slams the door on the way out. Drill instructor swears, hisses, ears. Me, like a dumbass recruit, says, open sir. He makes me get out of the rack. Like I thought, I'm the only one awake. Drill instructor beckons all 4 of us into the office. Reaches into a box and gives us each a power bar. It was shocking to see him actually care about us. Eat motherfuckers. We whisper aye sir and begin devouring the power bar. He reaches into the box and gets one for himself. As he eats, he says that we cannot tell anyone what we saw, for the sake of the platoon. I gather some courage and ask what happened at Ribbon Creek. Like I said, I pretty much knew. Repeats the story I knew, but tells about how it was a drunk drill instructor that made his entire platoon cross the river, causing many to drown. But there's one detail I didn't know. This was both the barracks and the deck that platoon lived on. Nope.jpg swears us to secrecy, slips us another power bar, and I get back in the rack. Next day, Kill Hat acts like nothing happened and fucks us up as usual. To this day I don't know what actually happened. Drill instructors play cruel fucking tricks, it's kinda funny. I've seen them sneak on deck in all black at 2 in the morning and pretend to be robbers and make you tackle them and shit. They like to play mind games too, and part of me wants to believe that what they saw was just a drill instructor from another platoon. I also wonder if me telling all of my fellow recruits about Ribbon Creek just caused their minds to wander or something. It was late, and you're always tired. So maybe he fell asleep, maybe it was just a dream, I dunno. But what happened the next week made me think twice. It's a week later. We finally got live ammo on the range, and it's almost kinda fun. Drill instructors are on edge, though, 'cause it's not unheard of for self-ending recruits to sneak ammo into the barracks and blow their brains out. I'm on fire watch, I'm the rover, meaning I clean. I head to the bathroom to clean. I'm in there a while when the lights are cut. Nothing too unusual, the place is old as fuck. Usually they come right back on. All of a sudden, I hear recruits screaming below me. Not too strange, but kinda odd since it's 1 a.m. and technically we're not allowed to be up yet. Lights are still off. Recruits screaming continues. Suddenly, the showers turn on in the bathroom. Not one, not two, all of them. Nope.jpg. I'm freaking the fuck out. Recruits screaming intensifies. I'm literally frozen with fear. All of a sudden, lights come back on, showers turn off, screaming stops. Run out to find my firewatch buddies. They ask why I'm freaking out, and tell them about the bathroom. They ask if we should wake the senior up. I puss out because I'm more afraid of him than fucking ghosts. I refuse to go back into the head and clean. Next day I'm ruthlessly IT'd because it was dirty. Worth it.jpg. I'm on the range and happen across a guy from the deck below. Ask him what the fuck they were doing last night. He gives me an odd look, and says they didn't do anything last night. I tried to rationalize that one, too. The lights and showers turning on wasn't that unusual. And the recruits screaming could be anyone, I guess. Still creepy as fuck. Alright, last one from boot camp. Someone above me was talking about how Parris Island has bad juju. This is 100% true. This is an island infested with alligators, where they drive you around in circles and make you put your head down so you have no sense of direction or where you're at, and people still try to escape. Tons of people have died on this island, both recruits and drill instructors. Well-known story is the drill instructor who jumped on a pile of boxes, screamed eyes. About 200 recruits were now looking at this guy, and used a recruit's M16 to blow his brains out. The place is miserable and tons of recruits themselves, too, especially in these barracks because it's the first time we have ammo and our rifles are near us at all times. It also used to be inhabited by Indians, so it's basically a recipe for disaster. It's senior sit-down time, where we have a little discussion with the senior drill instructor. Senior asks us if any of us have ever seen a ghost. Us four who kinda fucking did keep our mouths shut. He says he saw one, about 12 years ago, at Parris Island. Same barracks, different deck. Says their drill instructor told them a story about how recruits were constantly sneaking ammo in, sometimes by shoving it up their asshole, and shooting themselves. He thought nothing of it, and went to sleep that night. Woke up or thought he woke up to see a recruit holding a rifle, pointing it directly at him. Huge no-no. He screams out and the recruit vanishes, but leaves his rifle. At this point he actually wakes up. Laying on his chest is a rifle, his rifle pointed directly at his head. We all think he's fucking with us, 'cause he was a douchebag. Later that night, Firewatch is roving around, doing their shit. All of a sudden, the recruit screams in his sleep. Nothing too unusual, happens all the time, 'cause boot camp is fucked up. But then he sets the bolt upright, gets out of the rack, and goes out of the rack and starts putting every weapon on safe. Putting every weapon on fire, not safe. Big no-no. Firewatch rushes to stop him. Dude is reciting the rifleman's creed. This is my rifle, there are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend. It is my life. This is some fucked up Full Metal Jacket shit. They try to stop him and finally, he stops. He was sleeping while walking. Has no recollection of this shit. Has no history of sleepwalking, either. Says the last thing he remembers was a dream. A recruit pointing his rifle at him, like the senior's dream, but this time, he felt compelled to get up and kill everyone else. Begs Firewatch not to tell because a sleepwalking will get him kicked out, and b. he had a dream about killing everyone and got up to put their weapons on fire. All of a sudden, a tap. It's the window to the drill instructor hut. The senior is looking at them, smirks, and puts the blinds down. This one just seems like a bad dream, but it was just as scary as the other two, to my young, impressionable recruit mind. We left that fucking place the next week and never had any more ghosts.
My uncle was in the military in the 50s and 60s. The only time he ever talked about it was to tell the following story. He passed away 10 years ago, and I really have no other information. Uncle is stationed at a soon-to-be decommissioned military base in the US. Limited people on base, they're just sitting and waiting on the closing procedures. He's walking around on base one day and notices a person ahead of him walking weird. Guy is almost at full run in dress uniform, but his shoes are making no noise. Guy goes around the corner of a building just a few feet ahead of Uncle. Uncle turns corner and the guy is gone. No doors on that side of the building and nothing else except flat land. Last month on the base. Uncle is standing next to a tree on base. Just smoking a cigar, minding his own business. Guy walks past, blocking his view. He was so close, my uncle could smell the guy's aftershave. What the hell was that for? Uncle turns to see no one there and the nearest building being some distance away.
B. Bulgarian. We used to have a mandatory 4-year conscription into the army when we were still in the Union. Both grandfathers and my father were conscripted. Both my father and his father share stories about the army. My other grandfather doesn't. Ask my mother why one day. She tells me he saw an unclean spirit. What? Go to my grandfather and ask him what happened. Dodges the question for a while before telling me to have a seat while he tells the story. Begins by draining half a bottle of wine in one go. Like many conscripts, he was put on border patrol. Had to patrol 5 kilometers of the Turkish border all alone. All he had was a coat and a rifle. He was under orders to shoot any Muslims trying to cross the border and escape to Turkey. He says he'd constantly pass through ruined farms and sometimes villages, either destroyed in the First or Second War, or just deserted because they were too far from civilization. Somewhere along the way he'd pass through an old graveyard. That's where he met her. At this point he starts tearing up. Says she was the love of his life. He's crying and talking about how beautiful she had been. At this point grandmother's heard something's going on and comes to check on us. Sees grandfather crying and hears his mumbling. Grabs me by the ear and drags me into another room. Don't let him fill your head with his rambling. He'll tell you what fucking happened. She tells me the story as one of grandfather's friends in the barracks told her a long time ago. Every time grandfather would go on patrol, he'd return incredibly pale, cold and tired. In the middle of the hottest months of summer. Stops eating at all, vacant look, nearly unresponsive when spoken to. His mates just think he's not cut out for army life and leave him alone for a while. Still, they are a superstitious bunch, and when he starts acting too weird for them, one of them thinks my father has been bewitched by something. They decide to tie a cross to his neck before he sets out to patrol. Doesn't even resist, just mumbles something incoherent. When he returns that night, the cross has been torn from his neck. Suddenly gets a fever, insists he continues going on patrol. His mates decide they've had enough of this shit and follow him. He largely ignores them. They reach the graveyard. They finally see her. She's awkwardly standing near the graveyard fence with her arms outstretched on either side like a scarecrow. Wearing a burial gown which doesn't blow in the wind. She suddenly turns to my grandfather and starts walking to him. Without bending her knees. awkwardly closes her arms around grandfather without bending her elbows. They stand there, with grandfather whispering something to her for about 2 minutes. His buddies decide they've seen enough and jump in to separate them. Grandfather goes completely batshit and starts hissing and clawing at them like a wild animal. The woman just returns to her original pose and stands completely still. No breathing. Her eyes are completely white. Grandpa's buddies are convinced whatever this is, it isn't alive. Drag her into the graveyard where they find a really messy grave. Dig in it for a bit, it's empty. Woman remains completely still while they drag her into her grave. They decide to bury her with boulders before soil. Return to see her standing upright in her grave, pelted with boulders and buried. Grandfather recovers from the fever in an hour. Believes to this day she was just some village girl he met on the road. My grandmother thinks he was bewitched by a vampire. Pretty spooky, though they might just be fucking with me.
I was in the Navy. There was part of a whole deployment I don't remember. I saw some old ship's photos and it was bizarre seeing myself at times I don't remember at all. In one picture, I'm sitting near the XO while we are both eating some lunch of the main mess decks. Also, they say the base in Yokosuka is haunted by old dead Japs and American GIs. One popular ghost story is that they closed an entrance to the base because the guards kept running away scared shitless on a regular basis. They say an American in 40s era army uniform walks up to you on watch and asks for a light. After he lights his smoke, he disappears. BTW, the only weird thing to personally happen to me was seeing what I thought was the same person over and over in several different countries. It was a white guy about my age, so at first I assumed he was just another sailor. I'd see him around Yokosuka and other parts PF Japan. I saw him in Russia, Australia, Korea, Hong Kong. It got creepy when I saw him in Korea once. I thought, wait a minute, we are the only US ship in this port, he isn't from another command, so who the fuck is this guy? I know the entire crew, he's not one of ours. And he would always look at me too like he knew. Maybe because I would always stare him down, probably just going stir crazy from being at sea for so long, but I swear I thought it was the same guy.
Pierre. This is less of a ghost story, and more of just a creepy vibes type story. So every once in a while, Marines on Okinawa, Japan get a chance to go out to Iwo Jima, probably one of the most holy places of the Marine Corps. It's where the flag was raised, where a lot of Marines died, etc. So I jumped on the opportunity for me and about 10 other Marines and Navy corpsmen to go out there and be the honor guard, ushers for a veterans ceremony to be held over there. We head out there, do the ceremony jazz, and get told we won't be leaving till the next afternoon. It's like 1 in the afternoon, so we've got a good while, and we decide to do some exploring and look at the sights, and when night fell, we would sleep in our sleeping bags. So we hit up the obvious landmarks, like Mount Suribachi, the landing beaches, etc. Fun fact about these beaches. You can sift through the sand, which is fucking black, and still find cartridges, shrapnel, all kinds of shit. It was crazy knowing thousands died where you were. But the creepiest thing we did was go explore the old rat tunnels, spread out throughout Iwo Jima. These were the tunnels where the Japanese made their last stand. There were gun emplacements, graffiti, that was still there. In our infinite boot wisdom we decided that it was one of these tunnels we would make our encampment. At the bottom of one of these tunnels, with only our lanterns lighting it, in a place where people either slowly starved to death or were roasted alive. We were young, what can I say? Only 4 of us, including me, were brave enough to sleep inside. The rest set up shop outside near the bunker entrance, still scorched from flamethrowers, mortars. So we drift off to sleep after drinking a fair bit. It's about 1 a.m. My buddies are knocked out, but I'm having trouble, like I said, light sleeper. Every so often you hear what sounds like bumps further on down the spider web of tunnels, scurrying back and forth of what I can only assume were rats or other small creatures, water dripping off in the distance. The lanterns are dimmed almost entirely down, so you can imagine the scene. Call it the acoustics of the tunnels playing tricks, but I could swear that I heard whispers. Immediately got me thinking about the old stories of Japanese fighting in far-flung places, not knowing that the war was over. Crazy, since these dudes would be like 90, but your mind drifts when you're scared and kinda drunk. I finally manage to find my happy place and begin to fall asleep when I hear what are unmistakably footsteps, sounds of boots against stone. I figure it's either my buddies scaring me or just the sound playing tricks on me. Either way, I forget about it and go to sleep. I'm awakened a few hours later by one of the corpsmen with us, and he's excitably holding up an old, Japanese soldier's boot, which they had found when they came to wake us up in the morning and that we had somehow missed on our way down. I noped the fuck out of there and made the hike back for transport in what was probably record time. Never asked if anyone was exploring at night or not, but it was one of the creepiest places I've ever been. Just knowing that people died where you are, if you're imaginative, like me, your mind starts flying.
I have a few stories from my military service, not too brick shitting, but I started to remember while reading this thread. BME 19 start military service as a comm trainee in Finland. Lots of Inuits exercises and lots of night patrolling. Be at a week-long exercise in a big forested military area, get squad tent set up at about 2 a.m., and I get the first gate watch. No lights to be used at night, only night goggles. Taking a piss or finding your way in the dark was a pain. Get to guard post, luckily there was another MP trainee there Oswell to keep me company. Smoke cigarettes talking about bitches and stuff. Dead silent, everyone who isn't patrolling should be sleeping. Boring as fuck. We were playing around with some night goggles the MP had with him, cool shit, I can see everything. Hear rustling in the forest on the other side of the road where we were sitting, see a dark figure for a second moving very slowly between the trees. Probably someone taking a piss, let's shout for password. No password heard, yelled for the password a second time, no answer. Put on night vision goggles to check, but no one there. The trees were so thin that you would see if he was trying to get away or hear sprinting. But nothing. The MP radioed to guard base to ask if someone was doing around there. Nope, all our guys are sleeping, probably someone taking a piss. Felt really weird. The guy just vanished in a couple of seconds. Everyone had stories of their night patrols of seeing shadows in the dark and people who didn't respond to the password challenge. No one was dumb enough to open fire and wake everyone up because, well, fuck running and staying up the night. Didn't think much of it until now and always shrugged them off as the brain playing tricks on you in the dark, but being posted as a guard alone in the middle of the night in a forest is the most unreal feeling I can think of.
B. Conscripted Greek. Be stationed at a mechanized infantry battalion near the Turkish border. All facilities are total shit despite being located inside the larger brigade camp. The place is depressing as fuck. Fog, crows, sharp cold, gloomy sky at all times. My company's in charge of guard duty in one of the forts at the border. Imagine a small apartment, bedroom with 6 single bunks, kitchen, WC, tiny living room and officers' quarters. Be at morning report at base camp. Staff Sergeant asks for volunteers for a week at the fort. I've been in the military for some time, and thought I was the shit by then. Raise my fucking hand all like, Private Anon would be honored, sir, thinking it'd be cool to get away from my douchebag sadist captain screams for a while. Still regretting it. We depart at 1700 and it's already dark when we get to the fort half an hour later. Driver nopes the fuck out in a hurry. That can't be good. JPG. Be me, another private buddy of mine and a loner from a nearby battalion, cause we're short on people, plus the aforementioned staff sergeant. Guarding the place pretty much equals walking up and down the dirt road in front of it.
Staff Sergeant be like, guard duty begins at 2200, feel free to screw around until then. Pretty cool guy. Sergeant is watching TV, the loner guy is cleaning his rifle. My buddy and I are outside chatting. He's been here before a few times. Asks me if I know about the night visitors. What.png? Supposedly an entire squad committed mass suicide back in the day in this very fort and they roam around at night. Yeah, right. Wave it off as your garden variety army BS too spooky story. The time comes. My buddy guards first, the other guys next, and I got the third shift. 2 hours go by without any incident. My buddy comes back, wakes up the other guy, and tells him to get ready. Can't sleep, so I suggest we watch some late night TV. Buddy agrees, and goes to get a bottle of water from the kitchen. The other guy's pretty nervous. Nevertheless, he suits up, grabs a rifle, and heads outside. My buddy's still not back from the kitchen. I go look for him. Kitchen is in a separate room behind the main building, so I gotta go outside. Too bored to dress up, just put on boots and jacket. Pants are for pussies. Head outside and see a flashlight beam dancing in the fog on the dirt road in front of the fort. Protocol dictates that no lights of any kind are allowed during guard duty at night. Fucking pissed at the loner guy, 'cause he's gonna get us in trouble. Fortunately, the staff sergeant is sleeping. Skip down the front steps ready to give the guy a piece of my mind. Legs are freezing because of just boxers.bmp. Guy's got his back turned on me, standing still just outside the main gates. His flashlight is aimed at a shadowy figure in the fog. Nope for a bit and stop walking. LOL, it's probably just my buddy trying to scare the guy. PSSST. Get your ass over here. Dancing with the Stars rerun is on and there's some hot babes, comes from behind me. Turn around to see my buddy at the door of the building waving at me. Nope. Betamax. Turn on the spot and scream, Anon, get the fuck away from that thing, to the other guy. Guy drops the flashlight and runs back inside with me. The three of us are just standing at the door and looking at a pitch black and really tall thing walking slowly in front of the flashlight. Staff Sergeant wakes up storming out of his room all like, the fuck's all that noise about? We're all speechless and scared shitless. The thing's no longer there. We told him what happened but he didn't believe us, naturally. Needless to say, the next 6 days went by really fucking hard. Shit felt like a month.
Be in a camp. Get woken up during the night. Private Anon, go deliver this note to Camp X, regards, NCO. Nice effing toke no A3m.png. A starless Nordic night as black as a prince and a road coated with freshly fallen snow to ski on, what more motivation do I need? 3/4 of the journey completed. Felt uneasy as fuck for a while now, feels like I'm being watched. No sounds but my breath and the skis sliding on the snow. All those spoopy skinwalker stories just adding to my rising anxiety. Feeling tired and thirsty but I'm too scared to stop or look around me. Swear I can hear something moving behind me now. Threatening.png. Ski a bit faster. Hear it get closer. Ski faster. Hear it get even closer, it's something big. Ski even faster, too fucking scared to look. If I can't see it, it can't take me. Can hear it right behind me. Feel a hand gently land and squeeze my shoulder. Nope. Clench my asshole tighter than it's ever been in order to avoid tactically shitting my pants. Find a gear I didn't even know I had and start skiing at the speed of 1,000 Jaegers. Footsteps getting farther and farther. Don't slow down, don't look back. See the camp. Halt. Who goes the? Watch the fuck out, something's chasing me. Dive into the foxhole and tactically shoulder my RK. The guardsmen see me shitting out complete commie blocks, furniture and all, and shit tiny Lego bricks themselves. We just sit there for 5 minutes, staring at the road I came from. Finally, A deer emerges. Bogerface.jpg. I told the story, and they sent me to a psychiatric for an evaluation. Got clean papers, got told it was my tired mind playing tricks on me, and got nicknamed Speedy Gonzales.
Oh dude, my ship had a ghost story too. I say had because I'm not on it anymore. I'll greentext. Guy down in the pit, propulsion plant. He's on watch, something's a bit off. Starts doing maintenance, not supposed to be while on watch. Doesn't fully understand the system, starts disconnecting pipes. Disconnects a pipe while tangled up in the bilge, pretty much wedging yourself into a really tight spot. Cold water starts dumping on him, he keeps working. Cold water starts getting hot, hot water turns into boiling water. He didn't realize he disconnected a steam dump, and his ass is stuck in the bilge. Literal boiling water dumps all over his body and melts his flesh, but he manages to get out. Makes it to medical, nothing but muscle and bone, literally no more skin. Dies on the helo out. Now my old ship is haunted with his ghost. The cold iron ghost. Late at night, while you are in port and down in the plant by yourself, he'll fuck with you. Lockers will open, tools will be flung around, you'll hear weird noises.
I was one of the first responders to Fukushima. Work in reactor department on a carrier. On watch in the plant, ready to pull into our first port of the deployment. South Korea, fuck yeah. North Korea threatens to turn Seoul into a sea of fire if my specific ship pulls into South Korea. Whatever.jpg, I'm edgy as fuck and it's time to make plans for lunch in Seoul. Think it's cool to have lunch and beers in a city under nuclear threat. Night before port call, I'm on watch in the plant. Watch supervisor comes down to tell us that Japan was hit with a tsunami, we aren't going to SK. Redirect to Japan to provide aid. See on news that Japan's nuclear power plant is on fire, Japan denies radiation leakage. Get closer to Japan, our sensors start going crazy. WTF, is it our plant? Are we leaking? US Navy puts pressure on Japan, they finally admit they are leaking. Huge radiation cloud off coast of Japan. My captain decided it would be a good idea to sail through it twice. Sleep with your gas masks under your pillow if it makes you feel safe. But it won't. Direct quote from CO. Pic very much related.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.